All right, let us begin. What has happened in the story so far? Do we remember?
I know Telemachus met Athena, and they've kind of been like talking about what's been going on. She's just like,
does he not know that she is who she is?
I don't think he knows that she's Athena.
Yeah, because she's appearing to him as like a mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like also as a man.
Yeah. Yes, as an old man.
Yeah.
He has traveled from his home to go seek advice on where the heck Dad went. And now he's in the kingdom where Menelaus is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think it's Menelaus, but I could be wrong.
I feel like Menelaus is Greeker.
Menelaus.
Is Greek.
Menelaus would be the modern pronunciation. Menelaus would be closer to what the traditional pronunciation would be.
What? No way.
Yeah. The
That's
shadow
true.
is right.
Yeah, I mean, you are. The shadow is very good at ancient Greek stuff.
The shadow
you
hyperfixated
are.
on ancient Greek in middle school.
Yeah.
My Roman Empire is actually the Grecian Empire.
No matter
Okay.
which way you roam, huh?
So yeah, he's coming in to Lacedaemon, the kingdom, and being like, come into my kingdom, be welcome. You are the son of Odysseus, my, compatriot, and they're having a feast. I think that's where we begin, pretty much.
Reading some of these names ahead of time, I'm like, oh my god, some of these are mouthfuls.
We're gonna pronounce them six ways sideways a Sunday.
I like Megapenthes.
Yes. Well, there will be no more name confusion because we're just gonna go ahead and do prose for now. No, for all time. Yes, we're just gonna stick with the prose. It's got the Greek names, so let's just do it.
Yeah.
Greek.
Let's do it. Book 4, and we're ending on, and the song is ending, and that's perfect timing. Book 4, Telemachus. Entertainment at Sparta, where Menelaus tells him what befell many of the Greeks on their return. That Odysseus was with Calypso in the isle Ogygia, as he was told by Proteus. And they came to Lacedaemon, lying low among the caverned hills, and drave to the dwelling of renowned Menelaus. Him they found giving a feast in his house to many friends. Do you want water, by the way?
I've got water.
Oh, you've got water.
Remember
I need to grab my
I
water.
set water down on the table. I asked you about it and everything. I was just like, is it okay if I set this down here?
I forgot to set down my own water. Okay.
I have beverage.
Yeah. His daughter he was sending to the son of Achilles, cleaver of the ranks of men, for in Troy he had first promised and covenanted to give her, and now the gods were bringing about their marriage. So, now he was speeding her on her way with chariot and horses to the famous city of Myrmidons, among whom her lord bare rule. And for his son he was bringing to his home the daughter of Elector out of Sparta, for his well-beloved strong Megapenthes, born of a slave woman. For the gods no more showed promise of seed to Helen, from the day that she bared a lovely child, Hermione, as fair as a golden Aphrodite. So,
You gotta be careful with those comparisons, man.
yeah, I mean, that could be treason. So they were
Part of how you
feasting.
get here in the first place.
Yeah. So they were feasting through the great vaulted hall, the neighbors and the kinsmen of renowned Menelaus making merry, and among them a divine minstrel was singing to the lyre. And as he began the song, 2 tumblers in the company whirled through the mist of them. And Full Metal Alchemist, that's Baljeet's turn.
Full Metal Alchemist, a son of sorrow, Tristram. Meanwhile, those
That's
twain.
the annotation for Megapenthes.
Megapenthes. Oh, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Take 2. Meanwhile, those twain, the hero Telemachus and the splendid son of Nestor, made halt at the entrance of the entry of the gate, they and their horses. And the Lord ODYSSEY came forth and saw them, the ready squire of renowned Menelaus. Excuse me. And he went
Either way.
through the palace, bare the tidings to the shepherd of the people, and standing near, spake to him winged words. Menelaus, fosterling of Zeus, here are two strangers, whoever so they be, two men, like to the lineage of great Zeus. Say, shall we lose our swift horses from under the yoke, or send them onward to some other host, who shall receive them kindly? Full Metal Alchemist.
Then in sore displeasure spake to him Menelaus of the fair hair. Eteonius, son of Boethus, truly thou wert not a fool aforetime, but now for this once like a child thou talk'st folly. Surely ourselves ate much hospitable cheer of the other men, ere we twain came hither, even if in time to come Zeus happily give us rest from affliction. Nay, go, unyoke the horses of the strangers, and as for the men, lead them forward to the house to feast with us. So spake he, and Eteonius hasted from the hall, and called the other ready squires to follow him. So they loosed the sweating horses from beneath the yoke, and fastened them at the stalls of the horses, and threw beside them spelt, and therewith mixed white barley, and tilted the chariot against the shining faces of the gateway, and led the men into the hall divine. And they beheld and marveled as they gazed throughout the palace of the king, the fosterling of Zeus, for there was a glen as if it were of sun or moon, through the lofty palace of renowned Menelaus. But after they had gazed their fill, they went to the polished baths and bathed them. Now, when the maidens had bathed them and anointed them with olive oil, and cast about them thick cloaks and doublets, they sat on chairs by Menelaus, son of Atreus, and a handmaid bare water for the hands and goodly golden ewer, and poured it forth over a silver basin to wash withal. And to their side he drew a polished table, and a grave dame bare food, and set it by them, and laid upon the board many dainties, giving freely of such things as she had by her. And a carver lifted and placed them by the platters of divers kinds of flesh, and nigh them he set golden bowls. So Menelaus of the fair hair greeted the twain, and spake, Full Metal Alchemist.
Taste ye food and be glad, and thereafter when ye have supped, we will ask what men ye are. For the blood of your parents is not lost in you, but ye are of the line of men that are sceptred kings and fosterlings of Zeus. For no churls could beget sons like you. So spake he, and took and set before them the fat ox chine roasted, which they had given him as his own mess by way of honor. And they stretched forth their hands upon the good cheer set before them. Now when they had put from them the desire of meat and drink, Telemachus spake to the son of Nestor, holding his head close to him, that those others might not hear. Full Metal Alchemist?
Sure. Son of Nestor, delight of my heart, mark the flashing of bronze through the echoing halls, and the flashing of gold, of amber, and of silver, and of ivory, such like, methinks, is the court of Olympian Zeus within. For the world of things that are here, wonder comes over me as I look thereon. As he spake, Menelaus of the fair hair was ware of him, and uttering his voice spake to them winged words, children dear of a truth no one of mortal men may contend with Zeus. For his mansions and his treasures are everlasting. But of men there may be who will vie with me in treasure, or there may be none. Yea, for after many a woe and wanderings manifold, I brought my wealth home in ships, and in the 8th year came hither. I roamed over Cyprus and Phoenicia and Egypt, and went to the Ethiopians and Sidonians and Arembi and Libya, where lambs are horned from their birth. For there the ewes yean thrice within the full circle of a year. There neither lord nor shepherd lacketh aught of cheese or flesh, or of sweet milk. But ever the flocks yield store of milk continual. While I was yet roaming into those lands, gathering much livelihood, meantime another slew my brother privily at unawares by the guile of his accursed wife. Thus, look you, I have no joy of my lordship among these my possessions, and yea, are like to have heard hereof from your fathers, whosoever that they may be. For I have suffered much, and let a house go to ruin that was stablished fair, and had in it much choice substance. I would that I had but a third part of those my riches, and dwelt in my halls, and that those men were yet safe who perished of old in the wide land of Troy, far from Argus, the pasture land of horses. Howbeit, though, I bewail them all in sorrow, oftentimes as I sit in our halls. A while, indeed, I satisfy my soul with lamentation, and then again I cease. For soon hath men enough of chill lamentation, yet for them all I make no such dole, despite my grief, as for one only who causes me to loathe both sleep and meat when I think upon him. For no one of the Achaeans toiled so greatly, as Odysseus toiled and adventured himself. But to him it was to be but labor and trouble, and to me grief ever comfortless for his sake. So long he is far, nor know we aught, whether he be alive or dead. Yea, methinks they lament him, even that old Laertes, and the constant Penelope and Telemachus, whom he left a child newborn in his house. Full Metal Alchemist. Water.
That was a long-winded man.
Full Metal Alchemist. So spake he, and in the heart of Telemachus he stirred a yearning to lament his father. And at his father's name he let a tear fall from his eyelids to the ground, and it held up his purple mantle with both his hands before his eyes. And Menelaus marked him, and mused in his mind and his heart whether he should leave him to speak of his father, or first question him and prove him in every word. While yet he pondered these things in his mind and in his heart, Helen came forth from her fragrant vaulted chamber, like Artemis of the golden arrows, and with her came Adraste, and set for her the well-wrought chair. And Aclope bare a rug of soft wool, and Philo bare a silver basket, which Alcandre gave her. And the wife of Polybus, who dwelt in Thebes of Egypt, where is the chiefest store of wealth in all the houses. He gave 2 silver baths to Menelaus, and tripods twain, and 10 talents of gold. And besides all this, his wife bestowed on Helen lovely gifts. A golden distaff did she give, and a silver basket with wheels beneath, and the rims thereof were finished with gold. This it was that the handmaid Philo bare and set beside her, filled with dressed yarn, and across it was laid a distaff charged with wool of violet hue. So Helen sat down in the chair, and beneath was a footstool for the feet. And anon she spake to her lord, and questioned him of each thing.
Damn. This guy rich.
Full Metal Alchemist.
A footstool for the feet.
A footstool for the feet. A footstool for what else?
For the meat.
For the meat.
For the sweet.
Wouldn't that be a
meat?
meat stool?
A meat stool?
That's fair. Meat stool.
I don't know.
Like, why would it be a footstool if it was for anything but feet?
I don't know.
Well, it makes a decent seat.
For the feet.
Well, for the feet, or any other way you'd meet, really. Menelaus, fosterling of Zeus, know we now who these men avow themselves to be that have come under our roof? Shall I disassemble or speak the truth? Nay, I am minded to tell it. None, I say, have I ever yet seen so like another, man or woman. Wonder comes over me as I look on him, and this man is the son of great-hearted Odysseus, Telemachus, whom he left as a newborn child in his house, when for the sake of me, a shameless woman that I was, ye Achaeans came up under Troy with bold war in your hearts. And Menelaus of the fair hair answered her, saying, Now I too, lady, mark the likeness even as thou tracest it. For such as these were his feet, such his hands, and the glances of his eyes, and his head, and his hair withal. Yea, and even now as I was speaking of Odysseus, as I remembered him of all his woeful travail for my sake, when lo, he let fall a bitter tear beneath his brows, and held his purple cloak up before his eyes. And Pisistratus, son of Nestor, answered him, saying, Menelaus, son of Atreus, fosterling of Zeus, leader of the host, assuredly this is the son of that very man, even as thou sayest. But he is of sober wit, and thinketh in shame in his heart, as on his first coming to make show of presumptuous words in the presence of thee, in whose voice we twain delight as in the voice of a god. Now Nestor of Grynia, lord of chariots, sent me forth to be his guide on the way, for he desired to see that thou mightest put into his heart some word or work. For a son hath many griefs in his halls when his father is away, if perchance he hath none to stand by him. Even so it is now with Telemachus. His father is away, nor hath he others in the township to defend him from distress. And Menelaus of the fair hair answered him and said,
Full Metal
Lo
Alchemist.
now, and
Full Metal Alchemist. You told me to stop you.
Sounded good, though.
yeah, no, that's if it's time to switch, it's time to switch. Full Metal Alchemist.
And Menelaus of the fair hair answered him and said, Lo now, in good truth there has come unto my house the son of a friend indeed, who for my sake endured many adventures, and I thought to welcome him on his coming more nobly than all the other Argives. If but Olympian Zeus of the far-born voice had vouchsafed us a return over the sea in our swift ships, that such a thing should be. And in Argos I would have given him a city to dwell in, and established for him a house, and brought him forth from Ithaca with his substance and his son and all his people, making one city desolate of those that lie around and are in mine own domain. Then oft times would we have held converse that here, and naught would have parted us, and the welcoming and the welcomed, ere the black cloud of death overshadowed us. Howsoever, the god himself, methinks, must have been jealous hereof, who from that hapless man alone cut off his returning. Full Metal Malcolm.
Okay. So spake he, and in the hearts of all he stirred the desire of lamentation. She wept, even Argive, Helen, the daughter of Zeus, and Telemachus wept, and Menelaus, the son of Atreus. Nay, nor did the son of Nestor keep tearless eyes, for he bethought him in his heart of noble Antilochus, whom the glorious son of the bright dawn had slain. Thinking upon him, he spake winged words. Son of Atreus, the ancient Nestor in his own halls was ever wont to say that thou wert wise beyond man's wisdom. Whensoever we made mention of thee, and asked one another concerning thee, and now, if it be possible, be persuaded by me, who for one have no pleasure in weeping at supper time, the newborn day will right soon be upon us. Not indeed I deem it blame at all to weep for any mortal who hath died and met his fate. Lo, this is now the only due we pay to miserable men. Another follow, wow. I lost my place, wow. To cut the hair and let the tear fall from the cheek. For I too have a brother dead, no wise than meanest of the Argives. And thou art like to have known him, for as for me, I never encountered him, never beheld him. But men say that Antilochus outdid all, being excellent in speed of foot and in the fight. Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist. And Menelaus of the fair hair answered him and said, My friend, lo, thou hast said all that a wise man might say or do, yea, and an elder then thought. For from such a sire, too, thou art sprung, wherefore thou dost even speak wisely. Right easily known is that man's seed, for whom Cronion weaves the skein of luck at bridal and at birth. Even now hath he granted prosperity. Manseed. Even as now hath he granted prosperity to Nestor, forever for all his days, that he himself should grow into a smooth old age in his halls. And his sons, moreover, should be wise and the best of spearmen. But we will cease now the weeping which was erewhile made, and let us once more bethink us of our supper, and let them pour water over our hands, and again in the morning there will be tales for Telemachus and me, tell one to the other, even to the end. So spake he, and Asphalion poured water over their hands, the ready squire of the renowned Menelaus, and they put forth their hands upon the good cheer spread before them. Full Metal Alchemist.
Then Helen, daughter of Zeus, turned to new thoughts. Presently she cast a drug into the wine whereof they drank, a drug to lull all pain and anger, and bring forgetfulness of every sorrow. Whoso should drink a draught thereof, when it is mingled in the bowl, on that day he would let no tear fall down his cheeks, not though his mother and his father died, not though men slew his brother or dear son with the sword before his face, his own eyes beheld it. Medicines of such virtue and so helpful had the daughter of Zeus, which Polydamna, wife of Thon, had given her, a woman of Egypt, where earth and grain river yields herbs in greatest plenty, many that are healing in the cup, and many baneful. There each man is a leech skilled beyond all humankind, yea, for they are of the race of Paeon. Now after she had cast the drug and bidden pour forth of the wine, she made answer once again and spake unto her lord. Son of Atreus, Menelaus, fosterling of Zeus, and lo, ye sons of noblemen, for as much as now to one and now to another Zeus gives good and evil, for him all things are possible. Now verily, sit ye down and feast in the halls, and take ye joy in the telling of tales, and I will tell you one that fits the time. Now all of them I could not tell or number, so many as were the adventures of Odysseus of the hardy heart. But what a deed was this he wrought and dared in his hardiness in the land of the Trojans, where ye Achaeans suffered affliction. He subdued his body with unseemly stripes, and a sorry covering he cast about his shoulders, and in the fashion of a servant he went down into the wide-wayed city of the foemen, and he hid himself in the guise of another, a beggar, though in no wise such as in one he was at the ships of the Achaeans. In this semblance he passed into the city of the Trojans, and they wist not who he was, and I alone knew him in that guise, and I kept questioning him, but in his subtlety he avoided me. But when at last I was about washing him and anointing him with olive oil, and had put on him raiment, and sworn a great oath not to reveal Odysseus amid the Trojans, ere he reached the swift ships and the huts, even then he told me all the purpose of the Achaeans. And after slaying many of the Trojans with the long sword, he returned to the Argives, and brought back word again of all. Then the other Trojan women wept aloud, but my soul was glad, for already my heart was turned to go back again even to my home. And now that at the last I groaned for the blindness that Aphrodite gave me, when she led me thither away from mine own country, forsaking my child and my bridal chamber and my lord, that lacked not aught, whether for wisdom or yet for beauty. Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist. And Menelaus of the fair hair answered her, saying, Verily all this tale, lady, thou hast duly told. Ere now have I learned the counsel and the thought of many heroes, and traveled over many a land, but never yet have mine eyes beheld any such man of heart as was Odysseus. Such another deed as he wrought and dared in his hardiness, even in the shapen horse, wherein sat all we chiefs of the Argives, bearing to the Trojans death and doom. Anon thou camest thither, and sure some god must have bidden thee, who wished to bring glory to the Trojans. Yea, and godlike Deiphobus, I like that, Deiphobus, went with thee on thy way. Thrice thou didst go round about a hollow ambush and handle it, calling aloud on the thieves of the Argives by name, and making thy voice like the voices of the wives of all the Argives. Now I and the son of Tydeus and goodly Odysseus sat in the midst and heard thy call, and verily we twain had a desire to start up and come forth, or presently to answer from within. But Odysseus stayed and held us there, despite our eagerness. Then all the other sons of the Achaeans held their peace, and Antiphus alone was still minded to answer thee. Howbeit Odysseus firmly closed his mouth with strong hands, and so saved all the Achaeans, and held him until such time as Pallas Athene led thee back. Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay. So they're just kind of recounting events from the Iliad. Yeah.
So we're essentially doing last time.
Yeah, last time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think Baljeet and I discovered this last time. We attempted book 4.
Were we doing it in prose or were we doing it in verse?
We were doing it in verse.
So now we're
But
doing
now we're
in
prose.
That's why something felt familiar. Yeah.
Now
Okay.
we stand prose now.
We stand the pros.
for
We're old
convenience.
pros at it at this point.
We're pros at the pros. There's so many versions of the Odyssey, guys.
And none of them are the original because the
None
original
of them
was
will
spoken.
ever
so.
be the original. No. That's what makes it so much fun.
And recording devices weren't exactly a thing at that point.
No. You mean
then
ears?
where's
Yeah.
what was that?
She
What's your
said
question?
recording devices weren't really a thing, so I said, you mean ears? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, ears don't
I'm
record,
gonna
they
be
just listen.
right back.
No worries.
Yeah. I'm just making a dumb joke
You
as
got
per
time.
usual.
LOL.
Well, I love the dumb jokes, so keep them coming.
Then wise Telemachus answered him and said, Menelaus, son of Atreus, fosterling of Zeus, leader of the host, all the more grievous it is, for in no way did this courage ward from him pitiful destruction, not though his heart within him had been very iron. But come, bid us to bed, that forthwith we may take our joy of rest beneath the sleep. The spell of sleep. Sleepa! So spake he, and Argive Helen bade her handmaids set out bedsteads beneath the gallery, and fling on them fair purple blankets, and spread coverlets above, and thereon lay thick mantles, to be a clothing over all. So they went from the hall with torch in hand, and spread the beds, and the henchmen led forth the guests. Thus they slept there in the vestibule of the house. The hero Telemachus, and the splendid son of Nestor, oh, so splendid, the son of Atreus slept, as was his custom, in the inmost chamber of the lofty house, and by him lay long-robed Helen, that fair lady, oh, that fair dame. Soon as early dawn shone forth, the rosy-fingered Menelaus of the loud war shout gat him up from his bed, and put on his raiment, and cast his sharp sword about the shoulder, and beneath his smooth feet bound his goodly sandals, and stepped forth from his chamber, in presence like a god, and sat by Telemachus, and spake and hailed him. To what end hath thy need brought thee hither, hero Telemachus, unto fair Lacedaemon, over the broad back of the sea? Is it a matter of common weal, or of thine own? Herein, tell me the plain truth. Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist. Then, wise Telemachus answered him and said, Menelaus, son of Atreus, fosterling of Zeus, leader of the host, I've come if perchance thou mayest tell me some tidings of my father. My dwelling is being devoured and my fat lands are ruined, and of unfriendly men my house is full, who slaughter continually my thronging flocks, and my kine trailing feet and shambling gait. None other than the wooers of my mother, despite out of measure. So now I come hither to thy knees, if haply thou art willing to tell me of his pitiful death, as one that saw it perchance with thine own eyes, or heard the story from some other wanderer, or his mother bare him to exceeding sorrow. And speak me no soft words in ruth or pity, but tell me plainly, how thou didst get sight of him. Ah, pray thee, if ever at all my father, good Odysseus, made promise to thee of word or work, and fulfilled the same in the land of the Trojans, where ye Achaeans suffered affliction. These things I pray thee, now remember and tell the truth. Full Metal Alchemist.
Are you back, Celine?
It would
I can keep reading then.
not.
Okay,
We can
I'll
add
keep
it.
going.
Or I think we're gonna break for dinner really quick.
Oh.
So we'll be doing that. Just make sure to let Celine know. Okay.
Okay, so was to stop there for now with it, put a pin in it, you mean?
We're not gonna stop the stream, but we're just gonna break for dinner.
No. I mean, I'm like put a pin on the text.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'll keep the music going, but I'll mute our microphones and we're gonna go do din din.
And then.
Okay.
All right.
I'm
So
gonna pull up some Dark Souls, but I'll have y'all's stuff so like pulled up there, if that's okay.
Sure. All right. See you in a few.